So if you have a DJI Ronin SC gimbal and you don't know how to balance it, I'm talking horizontally and vertically, because it's kind of important to know how to do those two things with whatever camera you're going to be using it with. So I use mine with the Canon M50 because of the compact form. So when I have both of those together, they make for the perfect travel setup. So it's a lightweight setup, it's easy to bring around, and it's awesome, man. I've been using it for about a year now for a lot of fitness content, travel stuff, just a bunch of different things, man. The Canon M50 and the DJI Ronin SC, they work perfectly together. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to balance, or mount your camera vertically and horizontally on the DJI Ronin SC. So I'm going to be doing this using a Canon EOS M50 because that's basically what I have, and that's what I want to show you guys how to use it with, and a heavy lens, the 16mm f1.4 Sigma lens. So let's get right to it, man. Okay, before we begin, I'm going to talk about all the tools I'm going to be using for this little balancing tutorial. So I've got some plates here. So these two plates right here, I'm going to be using with the Ronin SC to balance the Canon M50. So here I've got the Canon M50 as well, and one of my favorite lenses, 16mm f1.4 Sigma fast prime lens. Finally, I've got a screwdriver. Okay, now I'm going to attach the Sigma lens to the Canon M50 basically. So this is a heavy lens, so I'm doing this tutorial with a heavy lens so you guys can really see how this lightweight gimbal works with heavier lenses, especially on the Canon M50. Right now I've got it on. As you can see, it's a heavy lens and it's also large, so this is a good test for the balancing tutorial. So I'm going to be balancing vertically and horizontally, so you guys can shoot for Instagram or YouTube depending on what you guys are going to be doing. Okay, for the first step, I'm going to attach both of these with my screwdriver to the Canon M50. Okay, so for this piece, I don't know if you guys can see the markings on there. There's heavy, light, and lens. Heavy and light just basically, mean how heavy the lens is. So you'll see how I attach it to my camera right now in a second. The pointed arrow at the top there basically shows you the direction that you want this thing to be facing, because you want it to face the same direction as your lens. Whatever direction your lens is facing is the same direction this arrow should be facing on this piece. So I'm going to attach this piece now and show you guys what it looks like. As you can see right now, I've set it up the way it's supposed to be set up. You want this part, all the way at the back, and you want to have the lens with the arrow at the top pointing this way. So you want it pointing in the same direction as your lens. And then you can loosen this up over here. This little thing right here, you loosen it up. So it's more of a locking mechanism. You'll see how I use it, or how it's used once I place this on the Ronin SC and balance it. So let's do that. Make sure you have it like this before you begin, to balance your camera on it. So once you have it set up like this, all handles are locked because there's 3 handles on the Ronin as well. So there's one right here which controls the roll axis, another one right here which controls the tilt axis, the last one down here which controls the panning of the gimbal, or the camera in this case. So let's balance this right now. So you want to make sure you have all those locked and in this position before you begin to balance. The next thing you want to make sure you do is make sure you have this little area pointing outwards, or aligned with your Ronin SC symbol over here, as well as the USB plug-in spot here. So once you have it like this, all locked up and looking like this, then you pick up your camera and then you attach it to this point right here, the quick release plate. And then once you have it attached, once you place it on the gimbal, the next thing you want to do is you want to tighten the bottom here. There's a screw down here that you can tighten and loosen to control this little plate on the gimbal. So you want to tighten that up. Once you have that tightened, then the camera is a little bit more secure. So we're a little bit more safe now. So the next thing we want to do now is we want to start to balance, the different axes of the gimbal. We want to balance the camera on the gimbal right now. So now we're going to balance this gimbal horizontally, and then it's super easy to get to the vertical balancing, so we don't really have to balance. It's just a quick setting to get to that. So I'll just show you guys how to do it horizontally, then I'll show you the setting to do it vertically. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to unlock the tilt axis. So right here, just unlock that little lock at the top there, and then your camera should tilt forward and backwards. The goal is to get it to kind of face upwards like that, suspended in the air. So what we're going to do is we're going to loosen this little screw right here to do that. So we're going to have this come downwards, this little arm right here, the tilt arm. So I'm going to loosen mine. So you see it's still not doing that. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to keep trying to do that until it faces upwards. right there. So now it's kind of balanced and facing upwards. We've kind of got that secure. The next thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna show you guys right now. So we're gonna lock this up, this arm. Once you have that locked up, it's gonna start to face downward because, well, you're not facing upwards anymore. So next thing you wanna do is you wanna balance it and make sure it's pointing. It's kind of just suspended, you know, like this. So you don't want it falling downwards like this. You want it kind of just sitting this way, suspended without, you know, it being locked. To do that, we're going to unlock this little screw at the bottom again. So once we have that unlocked, we're gonna move this forward and backward until we find that sweet spot that kind of, you know, keeps the camera suspended and, you know, on the tilt axis. Okay, so I think I'm satisfied with that. It looks pretty okay to me, so I'm gonna lock it up again. So now I've got my tilt axis kind of balanced. You wanna make sure that you lock up the little screw here, so make sure it's tightened, but also make sure you shift it till it's, you know, all the way close to the little plates at the bottom there. So you use it as a locking mechanism, so it remembers, you know, when you try to unlock for the roll axis. So the next thing we're going to do now is we're going to balance this on the roll axis. So to do that, we're going to unlock the roll axis's lock, just like we did with the tilt axis's lock. So as you can see, it's tilted all the way in one direction. It just means it's not balanced well. So all I have to do right now is kind of unlock the little screw at the bottom here and then push this that way just to get it to kind of, you know, sit right at the center. If it was shifted towards this way, I would have had to do it the other way to kind of get it balanced. I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about right now. So I'm going to balance this right quickly. Okay, so as you can see right now, it's more centered, which is where we want to, you know, be at with the roll axis or the tilt axis, even the pan axis. Is you want to kind of be centered. Right now, I've got it, you know, kind of centered, so I'm just going to lock up that little screw at the bottom again and then balance the last axis. Okay, so now we've got to do the pan axis. So the pan axis, it's got a lock right here just above, you know, the little joystick right here. So the pan axis is just right here. So you want to unlock that as well. As you can see, that's the pan axis. So and then you tilt it towards the side. Just tilt it towards the side. The goal is to make sure this kind of just stays suspended in the center, or at the center. You want to make sure this arm right here kind of stays at the center, because if this arm, you know, tilts backwards or forwards, then it's not balanced. The pan axis is not balanced. I don't know if you guys noticed, it tilted backwards just a little bit. I just need to move this arm backwards or forward just a little bit until it balances. So I'm going to do that and show you guys what it looks like after that. As you can see right now, this axis is not, you know, it's not all over the place. It's pretty much as straight as it was when I tilted it. So that's what you want, is for this arm to not be, you know, moving all over the place. When you tilt it to about, you know, 45 degrees, you want it to be still kind of at the same position when it started. It's gonna move a tidbit, but you don't want it moving back or forward. You don't want it moving anywhere. You just want to kind of have it where it's at. So I'm gonna lock up this little screw right here because I'm done, you know, working with this arm as well. And right now I've got the gimbal balance, because this is exactly what you want to kind of get to when you get the gimbal balance. As you can see right now, it just stays by itself, suspended in thin air. Okay, so this is how you would basically balance your camera or your Canon M50 on the DJI Ronin SC gimbal horizontally. So I'm gonna show you vertically after I turn it on, and you guys can see it, you know, how this works. Using the phone app, you can also do a lot more, assign modes to different buttons on this, you know, for different kinds of shooting with the gimbal. So it's up to you. This is basically the trickiest part of setting this up, is balancing the camera on the gimbal, which is what I've just shown you guys right now. So I'm gonna turn it on, and then I'm gonna switch to the vertical mode so you guys can see how to shoot vertically with this. Okay, so as you can see right now, the gimbal is not going crazy. If it was vibrating, losing its mind, then you know for a fact that you didn't do it right. You maybe got one arm not balanced properly or something like that. But right now, as you can see, it's pretty smooth. Things are going great. The gimbal is responding. And I don't know if you guys can see that. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys the vertical mode of this right now. So there is an easy switch, vertical mode. You can also check out a video on how to do this, you know, how to shoot vertically on any camera using any gimbal. So it's kind of a gimbal hack that I came up with before I discovered, you know, how to do this, you know, directly off the Ronin, because the Ronin can do this, can switch into vertical mode with the tap of a button. Well, double tap of a button. I'm gonna show you guys right now what button, you know, it is to switch to this mode. All right, so to switch the vertical mode from horizontal shooting mode on this gimbal, all you have to do is double tap the M, the mode button right here. So I'm gonna double tap it right here. And as you can see right there, the camera is pointing upwards. So it's vertically oriented on the gimbal now. So you can just grab it this way, and then you can shoot vertically like this. So this is how you would work with the gimbal at this point. So this is basically how you would shoot vertically with this Ronin SC gimbal right here. So all you have to do is basically balance it horizontally, press a button twice, and you get to vertical mode. So if you're shooting Instagram content, TikTok content, doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's vertical, this is going to be really useful to you. So if not, then you can just press the button back again. You double tap it to go between horizontal and vertical switching mode. So I'm going to double tap it again so you guys can see this happen. Right there. So you see, now I've got it in horizontal shooting mode. That's basically it when it comes to balancing the Canon M50 horizontally and vertically on the DJI Ronin SC, which to be honest is one of the best setups for any vlogger, you know, out there, YouTuber. This setup is compact, it's lightweight, and it's very responsive. And like I said, you can see how quickly you can switch between horizontal and vertical shooting mode. So very flexible. Okay, so I hope you guys have learned something from that video right there, and I hope you can up your creator game, you know, shoot better content. If you're going to be working with Instagram, you need vertical videos. If you're going to be working with YouTube, you need horizontal videos. So you want to know how to mount your camera, you know, both ways, so you can shoot content for both YouTube and Instagram, even TikTok. You know, it doesn't matter what content you want to shoot for, as long as you understand the orientation, then you'll be perfect. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, you can subscribe and turn on notifications. If you found this video helpful and want to watch more content like this or more videos like this, make sure to click on the video on the screen right now, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. It's Midas, and I am out, y'all.